good enough where I was like, I need to commit to this pile of shit. So I got this one, which was another one from high school. I was like, oh, Volkswagen Jetta GTX. This is a 90. 92 was the last year. But anyways, yeah, I was test driving this red GTI in Edmonton, on somewhere down Fort Road, somewhere there was some. I used to love scouring used car lots and see what do you got. And I had an auto trader addiction too, where I would always get the 3,000 and under, like religiously. I was like, what? Oh, there's new. I had them piled up all over. I would like sit on the shitter and read the auto trader until my legs were numb. And yeah, but yeah, sorry. Back to the story before I get off on another story. I was test driving and Volkswagen's got the down, over, and up, and it's got a lockout. So this car didn't have lockout, and I totally stopped at a light, put it in reverse. I didn't even know it, and almost backed into someone while I was doing a test drive. We used to do that as kids, like teenagers. We'd like go around and just test drive cars because they used to just take a photocopy of your driver's license, and they were like, hey, give her. Should I burn everyone? Some 2-liter action, 16-hole valves, 160 horsepower, maybe. It's probably exaggerated. Brand new, it had 150 horsepower. I put in, I rebuilt the head, ported, polished, 3-way grind on the valves, and I put in a sport cam when I had to do a head gasket. No, wait, did I? I don't even remember why I did it. I think it was a head gasket issue. So I did it, not once, but twice, because I fucked up the timing. First time I've ever opened up an engine, did twin cam, and I was off by 1 tooth, smashed the valves, bent them, redid everything again, and put it all together, had it all torqued down, and ran the car, and it was weeping out of one corner of the head. I literally slammed the hood and left it at my buddy's for a year. That is Macassa Performance is the shop where we'd get some shit done. This is a stupid intersection. I was small enough, I just squeezed through the middle. Ha ha. And yeah, I left it there for a year. I came back because he's like, we got to move some stuff around. I'm going to need you to come move your car. And actually, at the time, I had a Volkswagen Rabbit parked there. I had another Mark II parked there, which was my winter pile of shit that was just rotted out. And I just filled it full of Bondo. And I fired this up and let it run for a while. And it was miraculously, it was fit. I'm like, it's not leaking anymore. And it's been fine since then. And it's been like, I don't know, fuck. Jeez, that was like 10 years ago. And it's been a champ. I've had this car since I've ever moved to Red Deer, so like 16 to 18 years. I can't remember when I bought it, but kind of when we first moved here. And yeah, it's been a work in progress. I was like, oh, this one looks good, except for it didn't have a painted hood. I'm like, in pictures, a valuable lesson learned of buying black cars. And just looking at the pictures going, this car's fucking awesome. Drive to Calgary immediately with a dolly behind the minivan and buy it. And it was dark when I picked it up, of course. And it had a broken engine mount when I picked it up. I bought it for $1,800, which was kind of steep considering it's not rusted, but literally made engine jump out and smash the hood and made a dent. This is a different hood, but I think I put that hood on a different car. But I wanted it so bad, I'm like at the point where I'm like, I'm just gonna buy one and then I'll make it awesome, as long as it's not rotten, which is what it is. But I've also almost been divorced many a times, and spending countless late nights at the shop working on this, redoing pretty much the only thing I haven't done is the bottom end of the engine. It's got 254,000 K, so it's pretty young still. It's CIS, that's K-tronic, fuel injection, Bosch. Is great until it's not great. I've had some issues, but it ended up being fuel pump related, so I got that straightened out and it's been awesome. But other than that, this thing has been great. It just didn't like doing hot starts, so I would like only drive it to and from. If I had to stop on the way home, like say, oh, I gotta stop at Canadian Tire and get a fridge filter like I used to do a lot, I would cringe because I'd come out and it would almost not start. It had underglow, full stereo. It had everything a guy would ever want. Like I'm not huge on underglow, but at the time I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. Had a remote control. It would do like the color of the rainbow, it would do everything. Go to music, every color. I was like, woo! So at the time, it was a pretty cool car. But anyways, this guy likes to talk too much in the morning. We gotta go get a coil from Edson. Fucking breaking news. I forgot to even bring this up, dude. I got a new tight box.
Hey, what's all the hubbub?
Not this box, no. No, it's steering box. I complained the other day. I was like, dude, when I drive in the middle lane of 3-lane, I'm like sawing logs over here like I'm driving a 1980s Dodge. I'm like, do you know what it's like to drive a 1980s Dodge? I forget that most people are young at this company, but the mechanic's like, oh yeah, I know what you're talking about. I'm like, yeah, that's kind of what it feels like. Do you think we can do something? And fucking he's like, well, I'll check out these splines and check this and check that. And he's like, you're getting a new box. I'm like, yeah, I love new box. Don't need to come off as like a wife joke or anything. Happily married, like 95% of the time, but that's normal for marriage. I know I crack a lot of wife jokes, and yeah, it's just for fun and games. because it is the married people laugh about it. Look at this stack.
Hey!
Cool.
Hey, what's all the hubbub?
What is it? Oh yeah, Dumb and Dumber's like, look at the...
Oh, geez, look at the butt on that. Yeah. He must work out.
But anyways, I just crack wife jokes for fun because, I don't know, it's the only thing I kind of really know a lot about. Being married for like 21, 22, long time, years. It is definitely a job. Not all the time. You gotta work at shit, right? Some people are just automatically good together. Like, we were good together, and then we started having kids, and it's like, oh, this is a lot of work. Then, you know, a lot of people have kids, or they like get together after they're together 6 months. We're having a kid. Like, we're fucking getting married, and then within the year they're like, we're getting divorced. Child support. Dad isn't paying, or mom flew the coop. That kind of bullshit. I see and hear a lot of that kind of stuff, and I was like, oh. Ford alert. And I was like, I did not want to have a family like that. I didn't come from a broken family. I came from, my dad passed away when I was young. So other than that, no, I didn't have a broken family, but I was like, I will try my hardest, grit my teeth, bear down, and make this marriage work no matter what. I don't want my children to grow up without a father, because that would suck. We're just going through DV right now, which is also code for Drunken Valley, as everybody used to call it back in the day. I'm sure everybody here is still wasted. You gotta be able to live here. But there are some cool companies here. Raylan's got a shop here. Hey Doc is a pretty baller, and if I did live here, I would try to work there because they have the right color red trucks. Not that I'm knocking this color red, it's not white, but they have some gorgeous trucks. And they got lots of cool shit. They got big pickers, big cranes. They seem to be getting their hands into everything, which is kind of the same as we're doing here in Brawler. Oh yeah, I got some other cool shit.com. No, you can't fucking have one. Look at that fucking sticker, is sick. I got a couple of those. For me, not you. Lambs. Nobody fucking waves at Brawlers. I'm on the fucking hated list. I said, what's up, Lambs? If that's still a Lambs truck. If I had a red bumper, I could disguise myself as a Trison truck, but then people would wave. We're trying to make this place better, okay? One day at a time. So yeah, he told me last night, he's like, or no, it was this morning, it was like 5:30, he texted me. I was already up, of course, because I don't sleep, and I work too much, and then I gotta do edits and all that other BS. And yeah, he's like, yeah, today I was supposed to, what was I gonna do? We got that volcano thing in the yard. I don't know what the fuck that thing is. I think it crushes rock or something. I have no idea. It's like, kind of looks like a shaker box or a crusher on cat tracks, and it's on one of the low boys. Pops went and got it, which is the boss's dad. He kind of putzes around, still does things. He likes to keep trucking. He's a real trucker. So he went and got it, brought it back to the yard, and I was going to take that to Edmonton. I think it's cooked. They unhooked the planetaries and just got it on the trailer somehow. And then on the way back from that, I was going to stop and pick up the one other rail trailer that we got from the auction, which, well, it's the better of the old ones, but it's one of Cypress's old ones. One that I used to always use until someone scooped it up in Edson, then I never got it back. And then pick up the Low Pro Peerless Jeep 16 with the airlift fifth wheel, which Pops was saying they had one there that was hydraulic, because we're putting wet kits. Half of the guys have wet kits, and I do not have it yet, but I got all the stuff. Eventually someday when I'm not busy, which will be never, we're gonna do the wet kit and put the winch lever so I can reach it from the drum, right? Because right now it's at the bottom where all the chains hang. I have to like kind of tuck my foot in there, and I still can't, like, you know, I like to guide my winch line with my foot, so I can't. I don't like using my hand because I'll fucking snag my finger or something. But anyways, yeah, so we got that Low Pro Jeep. They said they had he's like, there was a hydraulic one that went for even cheaper than the air one. I was like, oh, that would have been the cat's ass, because it said he could have set it up so you just could like lift the wheel in the truck and just boop, and shake your load off. It'd be like come right off. It would be wicked awesome, because using the air fifth wheel for that, I tried it once with the Lowboy. It takes so long for you to lift the wheel enough and then pop the locks and then lift it up even more, and then you can't just leave it inflating. You got to lock it in again, or else it'll overinflate and then it just starts dumping air. Well, at least that's how ours was at Road Train. And the whole process, it would take you like an extra 10 minutes just to be able to pull that off. So yeah, hydraulic on demand would just like boop, wheel up, dogs in, rolls up, and just off she goes. That would have been awesome, but unfortunately that's not what we got. But it'll still be better than what we got, because we got it's not Low Pro by any means. It's got medium-sized trailer tires on it, so it's lower than the ones with the big wheels, of course. But the Low Pro has like the tiny picker trailer tires, like you see all those guys hauling those shacks in BC. They got like a picker trombone Lowboy, which we need one of those too. That'd be sweet. I always thought maybe I wanted one of those for hauling 400s. So I was like, man, I could tuck under anything and go anywhere. That would be awesome, except for they don't really offer it in a scissor neck. Or if they do, I don't know about it, because it's always stiff neck. So it's kind of, if you're a winch tractor, unless if you just specialize in doing skid shacks, you need to have that scissor neck, because, well, scissoring down and doing shit, right? Or flip over beaver tail. But sometimes I don't want to go over the beaver tail. Yes, I am a vagina sometimes. When the equipment's really big, I'm like, I don't really like beaver tail. And I got spoiled, because at Hudson's we always had rentals from RDI, which is another scab outfit that'll rent you a trailer for astronomical prices, and the brakes don't even work, but they had nice beaver tails. And then once you dump the air, it was pretty much on the ground. I was like, oh, this, and I use that all the time. And if I didn't like that, it was a single drop. I think it was a double drop. So RGN, mechanical, not hydraulic, which I prefer, because sometimes I'm fucking around so much with the hydraulic one. I'm like, okay, once you load the equipment on the trailer, you gotta fine tune it to get the right spot, where the mechanical one was just back in, pop the pin in, unhook, lay it down, pull your block out, back up, you're done. And when you have a winch, it's super easy, because you just winch yourself back under. I like the aspect of the hydraulic one, but okay, well that's only that that Komatsu side boom that I hauled was the first time that I had to take any hydraulic one apart and put it back together. And I had to get in and out of the truck like 5-6 times. I was like, I don't know what was going on. I loaded the cat, and then I went to pin back up to it, and then I couldn't wasn't lining up, so I couldn't lock the pin, which is air, which is cool until it's winter and it freezes. And then so yeah, I had to raise the stinger so the neck came down a little bit because I was catching the horns because the weight on the trailer came down a little bit. And then I had the same problem when I unloaded. I don't know, is that typical? Look at how many rigs are not here anymore. There's only one left, and it doesn't look like it's gonna be going anywhere for a long time. Looks like a Chinook rig. It was a Chinook rig. But anyways, I gotta stop and get fuel here, and we'll check out the new UFA in Wildwood, and what I got, an hour right now, and we're good. Smoky, but good. It's just the engine light, don't worry about it. Oh, you fucking dick. Sit here the whole time and nobody's playing. As soon as I gotta go, somebody's gotta go too. New air cleaners. Coming over. Another wide load. Who's got more, looks like a side boom. It's coming in hot too, and I'm going slow as balls. He's probably lighter than me. But anyways, yeah. All fired up here, yeah. My check engine light is intermittent. I think it's just a sensor. At least we're gonna hope it's just a sensor. Jealous. Look at how many less wheels he's got. If that was me. Or the other, he's like, yeah, we got a couple side booms and like a 375 hoe to move, and I'm like, what? Down tons. It's got the same stacks except for his are mint. Should I turn mine out? I'm gonna turn back slightly. And he's like, yeah, that's extraordinary load. I'm like, it's because we're using 48 wheels to move it. I'm like, everybody else uses like 10 axles. And then it's not extraordinary. It's extraordinary because of the weight. Because the freaking 48 wheels weighs so much. And then you put 100,000 pounds on it, all of a sudden you're like, well, you're 180,000 pounds. Doing night work in BC with 48 wheels. I was like, I don't know, it's not really a bush trailer. I'm like, you can go in the bush with it, yes. I'm like, it's not that enjoyable because it's very slow going because it's so heavy. Well, everybody else laughs at me and they're like, try. And I'm just like, trying to get through the bush.
Armed.
bleached, wearing out your hoses and stuff. It's weird. I don't know who that was. Maybe it was a mechanic shop. Tripping out for a second because I was like, oh, did I get the right shop? Because they moved a bunch of stuff since I was there last week. I was like tripping balls. I was like, am I in the right spot? Little drive-by GNS. See, it looks like they bought a Northwell T800, the Peterbilt 307 that I was driving with the bull bar. And well, that's the one that Morgan was driving when I left there. And maybe it looks like Shane got his truck, and it looks like they also bought 310 or 308, one of the two. Hard to tell from the front. I think it was 310 because 310's got no beauty stuff on it at all. It's just T800. It's good for them. Well, super glad I drove the old Volkswagen today that's got the worst wipers in the world. This sick little service station has usually got some cool stuff hanging out here. They got two of those rail car diners on skids. One out front that they use, and then they got another one tucked in the back there that used to be at, I think that's Wandering River on the way to Fort Mac, or is that Paddle Prairie? No, it's Wandering. Ah, fuck, I can't remember which one it is. It's one of the two. Pull over and take a massive whiz, but everybody keeps driving by. Bum rushing me here. Of course, I never knew. Like, when I picked it up, it was in the middle as soon as it came in the gate. Now there's like a queen there, nitrogen queen sitting there in K-rails. I'm like, as typical, I'm like, where do you want this? I didn't want to ever put it in a hole. Just standing out there in the rain, waiting. I'm gonna go up here and pass.